Hey everyone, my name is Matt and I make content about living in Chicago. I've been in Chicago since 2015, so going on 8 years now. And there are quite a few things that I wish somebody would have sat me down and talked me through before I moved to this city. The purpose of this video is to explain to you some things that I wish I would have known before I moved to Chicago. Foremost, Chicago's public transportation system is amazing. I spent a lot of my life outside of Philadelphia. I can tell you firsthand, the public transit system there is less than desirable.
This sucks. I am so unhappy.
I also spent time in Arizona where the public transit system is next to non-existent. No matter where you're trying to get, you really don't need a car in this city. I didn't have a car for many years until I went into real estate and needed one to bring my clients from showing to showing. You quickly learn when you're here that your venture card is your access to the entire city. You can take the L, you can get around on numerous train lines that go north, south, west. Can't go east, there's a lake there. If the trains don't take you exactly where you're going, I would argue that the buses in Chicago are one of the more well-refined bus systems in America. And all of this, again, goes back to the Venture system, the Venture app, so that you can track when things are on time, how things are progressing, if you're gonna have delays. And I think at this point, even some of the public transit systems are integrated with Google Maps so that you can build in how much time you're gonna need based on updated train schedules syncing with Google Maps. So it's a really efficient city in terms of enabling you to get around if you're not gonna have a vehicle when you're here. And a lot of people don't. Many people operate here for years without needing a car, even in winter, because like I said, you can take a combo of a bus to a train to get most anywhere in the city that you need to go. One thing I personally love and end up doing quite a bit is riding a Divvy bike. When I first moved here, for some reason, it just wasn't top of mind to me that I could rent a bicycle and use it to get around. But now, several years later, it's one of my favorite things to do, particularly on a day that's nice when the sun is out. I ride bikes all over Chicago. For some of you, that's probably a little nerve-wracking. Yes, it's a big city, but there are plenty of bike lanes and there are lots of roads that are bike friendly for you to get around from neighborhood to neighborhood. I believe an annual membership to Divvy runs somewhere around $10 a month or $120 for the year, but check that out. It's worth the investment, particularly if you're gonna take them a lot. I mean, after a while of paying for that one-year subscription, I truly felt like I just owned a bike I could grab anytime in the city. And added benefit, I don't have to lock it up when I'm done. I'm not too worried about it getting stolen. It's a good thing I have access to ride a bike and get some exercise in because, frankly, I underestimated the appreciation for food that exists in Chicago. The people here love to eat. We have excellent food, whether you're looking low-end, hole-in-the-wall, or if you want to go Michelin star. We have options all around the city that'll hit pretty much any palate, and that is something that I wasn't really prepared for. I guess when I thought about Chicago, I thought deep dish and maybe hot dog. Don't get me wrong, don't insult anybody about deep dish or hot dogs. Leave Portillo's name out your mouth and pick a deep dish spot that you love. Mine happens to be Pequod's, and I'll stand by that. I also really appreciate that Chicago has a sweet tooth. Cone over in West Loop, such a great neighborhood spot, and they always took great care of my dog, so thank you for that. At one point or another, Al Cheval had the best ranked burger in America. This city really just appreciates good food, good company, and there are lots of spots to find it. All this talk about food, and you might think that Chicagoans are generally large people, but the truth is, this is like one of the most active cities I've ever been a part of. And I say that having lived in numerous different states and numerous different cities throughout my life. The people here love getting active. There are so many different rec leagues, club leagues, ways that people try and get active in the community or just spend time outdoors. There are pretty much endless opportunities if you want to be active in Chicago. I have friends who ride bikes along the Lakeshore Trail, 18 miles of trail front, so you can ride back and forth for hundreds of miles of bike riding if you want to do that, uninterrupted, no lights, so it's a long trail. You just want to hang out on the beach and watch those bike riders go back and forth? Do it. I swear on some days you feel like you're laying in Miami. You can't see any other side to that water. It feels like you're on the ocean. There are waves, the sun is out. It's an amazing experience and one that you really can't appreciate until you've been here in the summer. One of the cooler and more unique things to Chicago, I think, is the Riverwalk, which has come a long way over the last few years with the amount of money that they've invested in it. There are so many different restaurants, and now City Winery is there on the Riverwalk. It makes it such an enjoyable experience to come, bring your dog, sit on the waterfront and talk with your friends. It's a quintessential Chicago experience. You're in the city surrounded by high rises. You're also watching yachts pull up that just came off the lake. It's an awesome way to spend a beautiful day in the city. One thing you hear and read about, but you can't really prepare for, is how large Chicago actually is. I heard that there were 77 neighborhoods, and I knew conceptually, yeah, that's a big city. But when I moved here, my initial experience was limited to like 4. I hung out in Lincoln Park and Lakeview, a little bit of River North, some Old Town here and there, Gold Coast maybe, so we'll call it 5. Over time, I started to really realize that the value of Chicago is getting to explore all of the neighborhoods. And the farther you go, the more outside of your comfort zone you get, the more likely you are you're gonna have an incredible experience. I've really had enjoyable experiences going into neighborhoods where I don't know anything until I get there. It's how I found some of the best food in Chicago. It's how I found some of the best clothing shops in Chicago. It's how I've met some of the nicest people in Chicago. Part of that is being a real estate agent. I get to go around the city for showings and different things all the time. But I would challenge you or anybody else coming to Chicago to really step outside your comfort zone. Don't become one of those people who lives in Lincoln Park and only goes out in Lincoln Park and Lakeview.
No. All right, I don't think you understand. There's 2 cities in the same state. Like, how's that even possible?
Forget that. Use that public transit system that's so great. Use the 77 neighborhoods to your advantage and go explore this awesome city that we have. If you need an excuse to explore the city, maybe pick a theme. I don't know. I like breweries, for example, so I tend to go around the city to see different breweries. So if you wanted a chance to explore Logan Square, you might jump over to Pilot Project or to Hopewell. Both are awesome, and usually you can walk in and have a great experience. If you wanted to get a chance to see Irving Park, why not go check out Irving Park Brewing, something that most people don't even know exists. If you want to go tour a flagship brewery location, go down to Lagunitas down in Pilsen. I mean, what a great way to experience a neighborhood that has, by the way, some of the best Mexican food in the city. What better way to do it than just chasing something you already enjoy? So again, I challenge you, go experience more than a few neighborhoods of the city. The last thing I'll say is just, I wish I really understood how much there was to see and do here. Before I came to Chicago, I think I had it in my mind as a tier 2 city. Sorry, Chicagoans, I mean, no offense, I certainly don't think that now. At the time, I kind of had it placed as like better than Philly, in between New York-ish. But in reality, I've come here and seen that you have access to so much in this city. It's unbelievable. It doesn't really matter what you're interested in. If architecture is your thing, go to the Chicago Architecture Tour and let it just blow you away. It's one of the more interesting tours I've been on, so much so that I bring most new visitors to the city to take that tour if the weather will allow it. If you want to embrace art, we have so many different museums here or institutes that you can go visit. Really, many of them are free to Chicago locals as well. So it's a very welcoming city, particularly for residents. The more you explore outdoors, the more you go see things like Grant Park or the Garfield Park Observatory or Lincoln Park in the zoo or the lakefronts. I mean, really, you can just keep going on and on and on of the list of activities to do in Chicago. The more it really becomes clear that there shouldn't ever be a day where you're bored in this city. If you are seeking adventure and you want to step outside of your comfort zone a little bit, there is always something to do in Chicago. And I've really come to appreciate in that time. I don't think I fully embraced it when I first got here. I'll end this by saying that moving sight unseen is difficult. I've done it many times in my life, and each time that I did it, I was really happy that I hired a real estate agent to help. That person's whole goal in the process of helping you relocate is to be your on-the-ground eyes and ears to help you find an apartment. And it's difficult to do that in a city of Chicago when you're not present on your own. If you're just scrolling through Zillow, scrolling through Domu, scrolling through apartments.com, hoping that you're going to be successful, you might, but your odds are very low compared to if you got a professional working for you who does this all the time. Hiring a rental agent is free. You don't have to pay them to help you find a place. They're just there to be an asset for you. And you know, I was using real estate agents before I became one, and I thought they were valuable. And now that I am one full time, I couldn't speak highly enough to this process and partnering with a real estate agent you trust through the rental or the buy process of relocating to Chicago. If you want to work with me and my team, we'd love to help you out. There's going to be plenty of links in the bio of this video so that you can get in touch with us. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. We love helping people relocate to the city, and we're here to be advocates for you. I want to do the legwork of your search for you so that it is not difficult or scary to relocate to Chicago. So that's it. That's a few of the things that I wish I knew before I moved to Chicago. Is there anything that you've identified being a resident here you wish somebody told you? Is there anything you'd share with somebody thinking about coming to Chicago? If so, comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. I'm dropping value all the time about the city of Chicago, not just what I like and dislike about it, but real estate advice that may be helpful to you now or down the line. And if you'd ever like to contact my team, don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to get in touch today for a search that's happening in 2 years. Let's plan ahead so that you can be successful when the time is right. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.